Hey guys, it's Alex here, again with another video for the SSBL. My last video, my first one, was about my draft breakdown, and basically why I picked the mons that I took, in the draft. So I kind of go in depth about what I wanted to do with the team, kind of go into sort of my play style that I'm looking for, a lot of pivot, just love U-turn and volt switch and those kind of moves. So if you want to know more about the team, go watch that video. Yeah, just saying. Uh, but today's video is actually going to be the team builder for my week 1 opponent, Burrito. He was the coach of the Chicago Beartics. Yeah, the Chicago Beartics. So someone rigged the schedule. It was George. Someone rigged the schedule for us to fight week 1. I can't blame him. Because, two Chicago teams, got to see who's the best. Gonna have a nice Chicago derby going on. In IRL, I hate the Chicago Bears football team, so yeah, I mean, their team is directly named after it, so gotta go beat it, right? So, it's definitely gonna be a fun match. I'm sorry if the screen is rotating. I should probably turn the auto rotate off. There we go. So excuse the unprofessionalism, but I don't. I'm doing this off my phone when there's no one in the house. So okay. Looking at the teams, right? The Chicago Beartics, they have a pretty good team. Not gonna lie, they have a really good team with a lot of threats. So go over their roster real quick. They've got Crobat with an offensive Z option. They got Alolan Persian. Don't know why they didn't make that Z. I don't know. Z Parting Shot seems kind of cool. Just my 2 cents. But they also got Electivire, Dragonite, who's also an offensive Z option. Hoopa Unbound, Seismitoad, Volcanion, Mega Mawile, Hariyama, Delmise, and Steelix, who's also an offensive Z mon. So one thing that just strikes me immediately when looking at this team is it's really slow. Like a lot of the threats on this team are slow. You've got Dragonite, Hoopa, both at 80. You got Volcanion at base 70 speed, Mega Mawile at 50. So a lot of the team's power is gonna come from these lower based speed mons. So hopefully I can take advantage of that with my slightly faster mons. You'll see when we get into the sets, but this is pretty good for me because it allows me to run Adamant or Modest on Pokemon if I want to. And overall, just, having a team full of wall breakers like D-Knight, Hoopa, Volk, and Mega Mawile, personally, I feel isn't really the best way to go about it. I feel like in this matchup, he really has to bring either Crobat and or Persian. Probably both of them, just because he needs some sort of momentum, and just ways to get those things in safely. Or he's just gonna scarf them. So like Scarf Hoopa is definitely an option. Scarf Volcanion is definitely a threat. I've used both actually, so they're really scary mons, and when you put a choice Scarf on them, they can become extremely, extremely scary for any team. So I have to watch out for that. But he's also got Trick Room with Hoopa Unbound. Thankfully, it's only Hoopa who can set this, so I'm thinking he's thinking that I have a lot of speed, right? So he's gonna bring Hoopa with Trick Room or something like that. And it's gonna be bad. As slow as his team is, he has some ways to get around that again with Scarfs, with Trick Room. And, my team, the speed is nice and it's gonna help me out with my offensive mons. I still have a lot of trouble dealing with those 4 mons, Dragonite, Hoopa, Volcanion, Mega Mawile. And then he's still got threats like Steelix, like Sheer Force Steelix with offensive Z. You never know. Hariyama's pretty strong. You could belly drum that. Choice Banded Delmise could really hurt. And then he's got Seismitoad as well, which I have Rain with Pelipper and Ludicolo, so maybe he'll want to bring like a Swift Swim variant that's like offensive. That could definitely be good against me. So yeah, just straight away, his team is kind of slow, but also is really, really powerful. So one of the things I wanted to not do for this week was bring Rain. I think Rain would be a really bad idea. Here you can see the team I brought versus him, or the team I'm gonna bring versus him, and yeah, I did not want to bring Rain, mostly because a Swift Swim Seismitoad would really suck. And the reason I say it really suck is because this team here already has trouble dealing with a defensive Seismitoad, and I don't need to deal with an offensive variant either. So if he does bring that, I just kind of want it to be just not as viable as it would be, right? But I also don't want to give a Volcanion Steam Eruption a boost in their power. I really don't. And I don't have a good way to switch into that, really. Even if I didn't have Rain, so there's literally no point in me bringing it, so that's why I didn't bring Rain. Let's see, what else? So, going to the main Pokemon that I'm bringing this week, kind of the key mons, sort of, so that I don't lose in this matchup, are between my Talonflame and my Hydreigon. They are going to be extremely, extremely essential in winning this match, because these are going to be my bulky mons, which is so weird to think about. You think of Hydreigon, you think of Talonflame, and it's just offense, you know? You got Gale Wings, SD, Brave Bird, Flare Blitz, Hydreigon just drop a Draco, Dark Pulse, Specs, Life Orb, all that good stuff. And it's that's how you usually think of them. I'm doing the complete opposite 180, and I use them defensively. I mean, obviously there was the Stall Breaker set for Talonflame back in Gen 6, but they have a really good matchup for their defensive sets this week, so I just need to bring them. Otherwise, I kind of lose to the power behind the team. So I'm going to start with probably the most important one here, Hydreigon. Hydreigon is my only good water resist that isn't called Pelipper, and Pelipper doesn't exactly have the greatest def or HP. And just one HP electric from a Volcanion will probably just absolutely obliterate it. And it can't really exactly do anything back to Volcanion. So, this is where I foresaw a problem in my draft with my bulky water being primarily Pelipper. This is a clear example of that taking into effect. So I have to rely on my Hydreigon, my dragon, as my water resist. Not ideal, but I think it still gets the job done. I'm going to go really quickly over the spread here. The 116 HP with the 108 def with the Calm Nature. This is to tank Choice Specs Volcanion. It tanks it pretty well. It's a 3-hit KO after Rocks, I think. I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I EV'd it for that specifically. It's my Volcanion answer without a doubt. The Chople Berry is there if he runs Focus Blast. I really hope he doesn't run Focus Blast. I really hope he doesn't. And so I also got 72 defense. That was just basically the rest left over because I wanted some speed there to outspeed stuff like Dragonite and Hoopa Unbound. Being able to outspeed those naturally is really, really good. So I have the bulk I need to tank Specs Volk, and I have the speed to outspeed Dragonite and Hoopa Unbound and be able to either U-turn out. That Uproar should be U-turn. There it is. So yeah, the U-turn will KO Hoopa Unbound from full, I think. Unless it has HP investment. It might be actually really close to KO. It might not be full. Maybe I need rocks. I'm not exactly too sure, but if Hoopa's ever on me, I'm clicking U-turn. Right? So that's primarily for that, and I mean, I either resist or I'm immune to both of its stabs, which is really good for a Hydreigon, and really the only way it can hit me is with a fighting type move, so either Focus Blast or Drain Punch, which the Chople Berry will help me in that scenario as well. So this is a pretty good answer to two of his biggest threats on the team, being Volcanion and Hoopa Unbound. One thing that would suck is a physical Volcanion with superpower. But again, I still have the Chople Berry. I really need the Chople Berry because it's gonna be messy it might be really messy. But you know, I got Roost for reliable recovery, so I can come in on them constantly. Sorry for my start there. And then Draco, this will KO Dragonite if it's past its multi-scale, or if it's not in its multi-scale, I should say. And it just does like a good chunk of damage versus a lot of his team, like +2 or not +2. Drake, even uninvested Draco does a good chunk of damage to basically everything. And then Earth Power is to hit the Volcanion. Have a way to hit it super effectively without dropping my attack. So I can just kind of stay in there and roost stall it and Earth Power. Excuse me. So yeah, that's that. And it also hits the Mega Mawile super effectively. I'm not going to be able to KO it ever. I think it's like a 3-hit KO. Maybe it's 2-hit KO. Not too sure. But if I am able to, I can outspeed it. And I resist Sucker Punch too, which is pretty good. So yeah, Sir Lafette here, our Hydreigon, is going to be extremely important in basically helping us win this match. And the next most important member of the team is Higher Talonflame. Talonflame is super important so that we do not lose to Mega Mawile. This thing is great being Fire Flying. I resist both of its stab. Play Rough, Iron Head, both resisted. The stat spread here of 248 HP and 104 defense with the Impish nature. This guarantees I get 3-hit KO'd by Play Rough and Iron Head, and I believe Sucker Punch as well. If he gets a +2, that's a different story, right? But I'm also running Will-O-Wisp, U-Turn, Roost, and Brave Bird. Get into that in a second. But yeah, even after Rocks, I only get 2-hit KO'd by no matter what he does, like Adamant, Max Attack, Mega Mawile, which is pretty good because I take 50 from Rocks. I take 50 from Rocks on Switch-In, so being able to 2-hit KO and be able to Roost up is really nice. And the speed on here is great at 116. This allows me to outspeed Electivire, which I could definitely see Electivire coming. Definitely could see it because it's got Motor Drive. It's immune to Coco's electric moves. It can gain a speed boost. It benefits from electric terrain. And it resists Talonflame, so I could probably maybe see like a bulky Electivire. In either case, I want to be able to outspeed if he isn't Motor Drive up, right? I want to outspeed, get out of there with U-Turn. Or just Will-O-Wisp it if I have literally nothing else to do. So yeah, that's basically the stat spread. Everything else went into attack. And basically the decision for Brave Bird over Flare Blitz, in my opinion, was... because like this is specifically tailored to take on Mega Mawile. And not having a way to hit it with its stab super effectively kind of sucks. But I figured between Will-O-Wisp and Roost, I'd be fine. I could U-turn it into Nidoqueen, which we'll go over now. Vasilia here, our Nidoqueen, is Choice Scarfed. I feel like a defensive set wasn't really needed to handle the Mega Mawile too much, because I had Talonflame, which was going to do a pretty good job either way. And if Talonflame, or if the Mega Mawile does end up having Rock Slide, I have Nidoqueen to switch in. And resist Play Roughs. Honestly, of all the moves it could run, I'm least expecting an Iron Head. I figure Play Rough, Sucker Punch, Fire Fang, because I have a Fortress, and he'd probably want to hit that super effectively. So I'm kind of banking on him, trying to think that I'm bringing Fortress to counter Mega Mawile. Although I think Talonflame might be the more obvious option, just because I have Fire Stab on it. But yeah, the special attack here, 196. This is, I believe, enough to one-shot the Electivire with a Earth Power. It's basically there to just revenge kill Mega Mawile, which dies to an Earth Power. Volcanion, I think, has a chance of dying to Earth Power from full. I might need Chip and Rocks. I think I just need Rocks for that KO. Like, just straight off the bat, because there's a chance. If he's max HP, forget about it. But the speed there is to outspeed Choice Scarf Volcanion. That is a problem, and I want to be able to hit that before it hits me. Right, so, yeah, and the rest I just put into HP, just tank hits for the Mega Mawile. I probably could have EV'd it probably more efficiently, but I don't really have the time to just, like, tinker with numbers all day, so I just went with it, whatever. And so, really all I needed in terms of moveset, in terms of the moves, was Earth Power and Ice Beam to hit his team. Like, I didn't have either really good coverage for any of his other Pokemon. Like Koopa, if I had a good bug type attack, like Mega Horn. Don't know why my Nidoqueen doesn't get it when Nidoking does, but that's besides the point. I figured I just put rocks on it because I didn't have rocks at this point on my roster, and rocks are pretty important. And I realized I'm going to need it for some KOs, and I can threaten some stuff out like Mega Mawile with this, which gives me a pretty good opportunity to get up Stealth Rocks. And then for the last move, I opted for Super Fang, just because Seismitoad, literally any Seismitoad, I think, has a pretty good time just switching into my Nidoqueen. Like, EQ doesn't do a lot, like, nothing I really go for does a lot. HP Grass doesn't even do too much, so I figured Super Fang would be better than Toxic, because I don't know, I can like Super Fang on the, whatchamacallit, on the Crobat too. I don't know, I feel like Super Fang would be pretty good. It's got the same accuracy as Toxic anyways, and I believe, yeah, 90, so I think it'll work out in the end. Didn't need any other coverage moves, so let's move on to my main offensive threat for this game. It's going to be Mansura, my Mega Medicham. This is pretty important in just, like, killing stuff, and it's really good because it outspeeds the majority of his team. He's only got 2 Pokemon above 100 base speed, and that is the Alolan Persian and Crobat. Neither of which I really want to stay in on. Specifically the Crobat, because it can Brave Bird me. Don't want that. Or Air Slash. I think Air Slash doesn't KO unless he's like special attack. I don't know. I'm not staying on the Crobat. That's besides the point. But Persian can't really do too much. Like, yeah, I can Dark Pulse, but then I have Drain Punch on here, so it's kind of a yeah, stay in. Sure, why not? I'll take it, right? So I got 196 speed here. This is to outspeed Dragonite and Hoopa Unbound. I'm not gonna outspeed the Electivire, because as much as I think it's going to come, I really want the Adamant Nature, and the Adamant Nature helps me get some KOs here. So I'm kind of banking on Nidoqueen helping me versus the Electivire matchup. So really, for the moveset here, it's just Fake Out, High Jump Kick, Drain Punch, Ice Punch. Fake Out into High Jump Kick basically KOs most things, especially Mega Mawile. That's the main thing. But then Drain Punch just absolutely obliterates Hoopa Unbound, so I don't need to risk High Jump Kick in that situation. And just gives me HP, so if he gets rocks up, I can make sure I can keep it healthy. Ice Punch, like, it's got a 75% chance to one-shot Dragonite through Multiscale, which is absolutely insane. But if I come in on it, I can Fake Out an Ice Punch and it's dead. Can't set up. I guarantee outspeed. Really, really good. Also, 2 shots. What's it called? The Delmise. Yeah. And also Fake Out plus, or no, High Jump Kick, just straight up KOs. Hariyama, unless it's like max HP, max defense, pretty much. So Mega Medicham is super powerful. It just kills everything on his team for the most part. Literally everything. I think he might bring Delmise, but like it gets 2-shot by Ice Punch. So I don't know. I mean, it's got a really good matchup here, and it's so great that his team is slow because I can run Adamant on this thing. So Mega Medicham's gonna put in some work. That's all I'm gonna say about that. And next up is Hakili, my Tapu Koko. I'm bringing Expert Belt set. I wanted offense. I didn't like. I could run like utility with like U-turn, defog, which I am. I am running U-turn defog because I need defog to keep rocks off the field for my Talonflame. It's gonna be really annoying for Talonflame if rocks are up. So I need at least 1 defogger, and I couldn't fit it on a Hydreigon, so it had to be on Koko. I also wanted U-turn for some pivot, also just straight up KO, Hoopa Unbound. So the more U-turn I have on the team, the merrier. I've got 3 Mons with it, so pretty good on that front. Grass Knot, this is for the Seismitoad, because Seismitoad is really freaking annoying. Seismitoad is really annoying for my team to deal with. So this, with the Expert Belt, will guarantee kill a defensive variant. If it's like Spadef or Rindoberry, forget about it. But at least get me a good chunk off on the thing so that my other members have a bit easier of a time killing that thing. So that's pretty much it. T-Bolt and Electric Terrain KOs all variants of Volcanion except like maybe max HP Assault Vest. I don't know. I was counting it against like max HP Choice Specs, and it was KOing, so I'm fairly confident in Koko here. It's pretty solid. Now, one thing I wish I could have was Dazzling Gleam, just because it hits the Hariyama, it hits the Persian, hits the Dragonite, but Dragonite gets like 3-hit KO with Multiscale up, so not really the greatest. Maybe HP Ice, but I have better ways to hit the Dragonite. So, and if it sets up on Koko, like, Like, it just sets up on Coco if it has multi-scale up. And then HP Ice doesn't even KO with Extra Belt. I need to run, like, Specs or something, and I don't want to run Specs because I want U-Turn and Defog. So that's kind of Coco there, kind of more of a utility mon. Not super important, but pretty nice to have in general for the matchup. Going into the last mon that I feel brings a lot in terms of what it can do is my Lycanroc Macbeth. I'm going to be running a Choice Band instead with Steadfast. The reason I chose Steadfast, really, it's because he could have Fake Out in the Hariyama and I could get a speed boost, which is great. Again, it's really nice that he has no mons over base 100. It's just like Electivire is 95, so I sped crept that at 318 with 232 speed in there. And then I just run Adamant. I think I optimize it to KO something, but basically anything I would need it to KO, I KO. It's pretty much it. Also, Accelerock really helps me here. It just takes like 60 to 70% off of D-Knight. So if I can just get something, like if it sets up, I just need to attack it with something that'll take at least 30 to 40% off. Like at least. And then I know I can go into my Lycanroc and Accelerock it and have a way to deal with it if it sets up. Because Mega Magicham can deal with it if it hasn't set up. If it's just like 1v1, I can Fake Out and then Ice Punch, boom, dead, gone, don't have to worry about it. But if it does set up, this is kind of my way to kind of deal with that. So there's that. And also, his team doesn't have the greatest time switching into Rock-type attacks. I mean, he's got Mawile, but, I mean, I don't, like, if I was the person using Mega Mawile, I wouldn't want it taking unnecessary damage. And I can always predict and go for Drill Run, which I do have on the set. And I have Toxic as well, because the most likely Pokemon to come in on Lycanroc is the Seismitoad, because it resists rock and it's super bulky and tanky. And so I can Toxic that and just have a better time in general with that Pokemon, because it's going to be really annoying to deal with. So that was a team for my week 1 match versus the Chicago Beartics, coached by Burrito. I hope you guys enjoyed. The battle will be coming up as soon as I get the battle done. This will come out, obviously. I'm not going to release this before the battle happens. That'd be stupid. I'm not an idiot, so thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.